The wind whips through western Washington.
People who just haven't been exposed to it are kind of surprised what 50 to 60, 70 mile an hour winds will do.
We're under a first alert weather day.
Coming up here in a few minutes, we're going to take a look at when those winds will start to relax and just how strong they've been throughout the day.
The man accused of locking a Wallingford couple out of their own home held in jail. We're getting a closer look at what he left behind.
A Kenmore mother loses her child too soon.
It was just eating me alive every day that there was someone else just like me out there.
The federal legislation she hopes will save families from the danger their furniture poses in their homes.
A King 5 exclusive.
We have over 2 million homes that are at risk.
Inside the scar left from the Bolt Creek fire and how the DNR hopes to snuff out future flames in western Washington. King 5 News at 5 starts now.
It is a first alert weather day. Right now, gusty winds are moving through parts of western Washington. Thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Joyce Taylor.
I'm Steve Solis. Take a look at some of the conditions our crews are seeing around our area tonight. We want to show you a new video out of Bellingham. You can see just how choppy the water is there.
Even worse along the coast. This is new video we have off Cape Disappointment. A huge wave hit this boat here. The U.S. Coast Guard was able to rescue the person on board, and come to find out, the boat was stolen.
On the roadways, the Hood Canal Bridge is closed in both directions, all because of this jackknifed semi. The Washington State Patrol says this crash could be due to high winds.
Our crews are on the ground in some of the most impacted areas tonight. King 5's Kristen Goodwillie joining us live from Bellingham, which is under a high wind warning in just 60 seconds. Sebastian Robertson's tracking conditions in West Seattle.
Well, let's start with our weather expert tonight. Meteorologist Christopher Nunley has your first alert forecast. Christopher.
Steve, really windy conditions out there. One of the areas being most heavily impacted right now, Bellingham. So take a look at the current tower cam. The winds are gusting over 40 miles per hour right now in all of western Whatcom County. You can see some of the little white caps there. Look at the grass there being blown around by some of those strong winds. And I want to show you just how strong the winds are across western Washington. These are the observed wind gusts over the past hour. Just really strong wind gusts, pretty much area wide, 43 miles per hour within the past hour in Bellingham, as well as Oak Harbor, 38 miles per hour out along the Washington coast for my friends there in Hoquiam. So we're continuing to hold on to those strong gusty winds across the area. Going to make travel difficult. If you're on in the east to westbound roads, you want to hold on to that steering wheel pretty tightly. And there's that possibility we could continue to add up some of those power outages throughout the evening hours. So we're going to continue to track that here at King 5. Here's a look at some of the maximum winds that we've seen today. Keep in mind that tropical storms have winds of 39 miles per hour. We've seen those winds very strong, 58 miles per hour. Hoquiam 49 in Bellingham SeaTac 45 miles per hour. We're going to take a look at the current wind advisories later on in the show, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Steve?
Christopher, thank you. We're going to check back in with you in about 15 minutes.
We want to go to King 5's Kristen Goodwillie, who is live in Bellingham this hour, to tell us about conditions there right now. Kristen.
Joyce, branches have been falling from trees and the wind gusts are extremely powerful. They've just gotten more and more powerful throughout the day. And people have been spending their day here in Bellingham flying kites, securing their homes, and preparing for this potential impact of the storm. Kites are stuck in trees, whitecapping waves across northwest waters.
I like the way it whistles through here. It sounds like there's voices in the bay.
The wind has hit Bellingham Bay.
This is our windy day walk when it's up here.
Colette Velasquez came out to enjoy the change in weather.
As long as you're bundled up and it's just cold on your face, I just find that very exciting.
Even the bald eagles brave the conditions.
You don't want any loose things on the deck. They'll just cause problems.
But many sailors had a job to do.
Just want to be prepared for a major wind. Think of it as a home, except it's floating in water.
Leonard Gray has lived on his sailboat in Squalicum Harbor since 2014.
And what it takes is one winter here with some 60-mile-an-hour winds to make you really aware of what you need to do.
He says they experience 1 or 2 big storms a winter. Gray spent the day checking on his friends' boats.
We make it a point of checking their boats, making sure they're secure and they're floating.
Yeah, we started preparing for this as of yesterday.
Bellingham's maintenance team clears down trees from roads and sidewalks.
Crews get together, they get their chainsaws together, make sure all the blades are sharpened up, things are gassed up.
With no leaves on the trees and a lack of rain,
We pretty much assume anything that's big that was going to come down is probably already down, but you know, we always prepare for the worst.
the trucks are ready, boats tied down, and residents prepared at home.
We have candles and lights, and we light the fireplace.
Puget Sound Energy sent me a statement saying that they are monitoring this forecast and have crews ready to be deployed should outages occur. They also suggest that people keep their cell phones charged and have flashlights and food on them. Let's head on over to King 5 Sebastian Robertson right now. Sebastian, how are conditions where you are?
Hi, Kristen. The wind really picking up here in West Seattle. You know, if you're just at home and watching this on TV or outside, it may look like just a normal northwest day. But when you get out here and you feel that whipping wind, you can tell that it really is a game changer. The Northwest, the National Weather Service out of the Northwest issuing that wind advisory. And you can see here at the ferry dock that windsock picking up with that wind coming from the south at times today, those wind gusts. Topping as high as 60 miles an hour. They were predicted to reach that level in some parts of the country here. Everything is moving along pretty quickly here, though it is causing some complications. Seattle City Light saying that a downed tree at one point left some 3,000 people without power here in West Seattle. Back to you.
And remember to download our King 5 app. It is the fastest way for you to get updates sent right to your phone when we are not on the air. Just text the word app to 206-448-4545 and we'll send a link right to your phone.
Today, the man accused of barricading himself inside of a couple's Wallingford home on Wednesday night had his first court hearing. That incident led to a nearly 5-hour SWAT situation before police arrested that man. King 5's Connor Board was at today's hearing and joins us live now from the jail. Connor.
Today, the 34-year-old man waived his appearance in court, but although he was not there, they did find probable cause for residential burglary and assault. The assault part comes because 2 officers received minor injuries from glass when they say he shattered windows in the home. Now, the crime was discussed today in court, and so was the issue of mental health.
The officers themselves seem to think that there's a mental health issue at play here.
Today, a judge agreed with a defense attorney that a man accused of barricading himself inside someone else's Wallingford home Wednesday night and causing a nearly 5-hour SWAT situation was likely experiencing a mental health crisis. But she also agreed with the prosecuting attorney that the man could be a danger to the community and may not return to court if released. The prosecutor's office said he had 2 criminal trespass charges this year and has failed to appear in court 17 times since 2018. As the man stays in jail, the couple whose house was severely damaged during the ordeal is still cleaning up today. We spoke to them the day of the SWAT call.
I think he just saw a warm house and a chance to get in there, and he's a little unhinged.
The couple was standing outside when the man came and talked to them, ran into their home, and then locked them out. They say he trashed the inside of their house, broke out windows with a bolt cutter, and caused extensive damage. He also told police he had a gun, which was not true.
We do respond to a fair amount of calls where there's somebody in crisis.
Detective Valerie Carson with Seattle Police says the man did seem to be having a mental health crisis. Now, police did have crisis responders on scene, but before they provide resources to the person in crisis, they have to address the crime happening.
The crime trumps the crisis at any scene, pretty much, especially if it is a violent or dangerous crime.
She says Seattle police have seen break-ins where people go in and shower in other people's homes or take shelter in them, but says this was different.
I would say that that's probably more unusual for someone to just see an open door and then lock the homeowners out.
I did speak with a couple today at their home. They said not only is it completely trashed, they said they lost some special family items like a vase from one of their mothers that they said the man just smashed. Now they are working with contractors to make repairs in their home now and are working with insurance to see how to move forward. At the King County Jail, Connor Board, King 5 News.
The former commissioner of a public taxing district in South King County will serve time in federal prison. The King 5 investigators were the first to expose the corruption in King County Drainage District number 5. Chris Ingalls is here with the punishment handed down today to Alan Benny Thomas. It's been a long time coming, Chris.
Well, Joyce, it's been a long time, almost 4 years, since we first revealed how Alan Thomas and his wife Joanne stole nearly $500,000 tax dollars collected for King County Drainage District number 5. And today, the man who led that small public district for more than 30 years learned the price he'll pay for his crimes.
What would you like to say to those folks?
Joanne and Alan Thomas have stood by their story that they did not commit any crimes.
How you doing, Mr. Thomas? Anything to say heading in?
At Joanne Thomas's sentencing last month, her refusal to admit responsibility earned her a 3-year prison sentence. Today, it was Mr. Thomas's turn to face the judge, and he received a slightly shorter prison term, 30 months. U.S. Attorney Nick Brown says the prison time is deserved.
Well, I think first and foremost, he was a public official. So this is both a kind of a fraud case, but also a matter of public corruption.
During trial last summer, the Thomases presented themselves as humble dairy farmers who were only guilty of shoddy records keeping. But as we revealed in 2019, the Thomases turned the public drainage system that they managed on behalf of taxpayers into their own cash cow.
Are you using the taxpayers' money accordingly?
Oh, yes. It has to be. We go through the state auditor and everything's office, so we keep our books up very tight.
Alan Benny Thomas was the longtime elected commissioner of the Drainage District, responsible for the oversight and maintenance of 18 miles of trenches that prevent flooding in and around the city of Enumclaw. After our initial stories, state audits and a federal investigation determined the Thomases spent nearly $500,000 of the tax dollars collected over 8 years on hay, equipment, and other supplies, personal expenses on their dairy farm. Now that the Thomases are heading to prison, the United States Attorney's Office is making a push to recover the $468,000 lost to taxpayers.
Are you trying to get every penny back?
Certainly. When we charge the case, we charge not only the criminal counts, but we also account for the loss amount and the restitution that might be available, and we will try to pursue the full amount.
So, Chris, Thomas got a 30-month sentence, shorter than the 3 years that his wife was sentenced to. Explain that.
Yeah, good question, right? He's the public official in this case. Well, there's 2 reasons. Mrs. Thomas was convicted of 5 more counts than her husband, 15 in all. She had additional identity theft and fraud counts because she's the one that cooked the books in this scheme. And also, she has a prior drug-related conviction, and even though it's a couple decades old, the judge said that factored into his decision. Joyce?
All right, Chris, thank you.
Ahead in just 2 minutes, a King 5 exclusive. The DNR walks us through the aftermath of the Bolt Creek wildfire. The agency's plan to shut down West Side wildfires.
Also tonight, we're hearing from a Seattle woman suffering from paralysis, why she claims Seattle police played a role in her current condition.
And it's a First Alert Weather Day. Up to the minute information on those high winds moving through when King 5 returns.